Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a discussion video with gameplay in the background. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about and a lot of things going on, and I figured it's about time that we actually catch up with something I haven't done in a while. As you can see, that's the thing that I'm doing lately. I haven't touched Trickster in a minute, I haven't talked to you all in a discussion video in a second, so let's catch up. First off, why isn't this a build video? In all honesty, I was in the middle of working on like one or two builds that I was still testing out, this being one of them, and I'll explain that in a second. And as you probably know, there is there's two bugs going on and exploits that are just making it kind of impossible to record a good game. If people are losing, then all of a sudden they need to break the game because spaghetti code that somehow I'm not going to get into it. Not going to get into it. I'm not going to teach you how to do it if you don't know what it is. Just it's literally people making themselves untouchable in one of the dumbest interactions I think I've ever seen. But hey, that aside, what else are we supposed to do with this video? Why are we here? Well, several things. The first one is I think the honeymoon period for Alien is over. I think a lot of people are at the Wesker point where character was fun, is fun, but all the bad guy mains are no longer, you know, playing anything else because everything else just doesn't feel good to play. And I want to talk about that honeymoon period being kind of over. What do we think now? I will say, personally, I'm not disappointed by any means with Alien. I guess I shouldn't say by any means because I did really want something to do with face huggers and chest bursters. Like if it was we got Wesker infection thing and then or like Sadako and then at the end if people didn't figure out how to take the face hugger off and or chest burster out, I figured we could do that type of situation, but you know, we didn't do that. So I guess I am a little bit upset as far as you know alien powers go. But hey, beyond that, it's okay. For what we have, I am happy with what we've got. Oh, and well, actually, I'll save that for the next bit. But you won't see what I'm talking about in this video. But hey, we'll get to that point in a second. That aside, Zeno, I think I've learned first off, a lot of people lied. Like the amount of cap that I've seen about this character is insane. Yes, you will lose in a 1v1 chase versus the ultimate life form organism. That was like the whole point of the character, right? Um, and just in general, in most horror, when you go against the baddie, you will lose in the 1v1. But from people saying, "Oh, you can't react to the," yeah, that was a lie. Finally, just like getting some reps in and like looking at it from different perspectives, and hearing and watching people go against me and actually dodge perfectly. If you aren't making any attempt to dodge the tail, that's on you. That just means that you are kind of bad. However, does the trade off of actually dodging the tail meet the effectiveness of being able to do so? That's a question in itself that I'm still on the fence about. In the games that I've played, I think it should be known by now that I play the game a bit differently than what many people would want me to, or a lot of my comment section wants me to. When it's weird, I post games where I win most of the time. I don't think I've posted a losing game in quite some time, and I still get people that are like, "You suck. You 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 could have won harder." So it's just like that's weird. But I say that to say that I don't camp or tunnel, and I don't use regression perks. So, is Alien baddie you can do that constantly with? Yes, I mean that's kind of my whole channel at this point. I do that with everybody, and then I give you a build so you can do that with everybody. But that doesn't mean anything to some people. This is also the only community in which somehow people not being able to win themselves means that you're bad. I don't know. I don't get it still, but hey, it's been a while. Back to Zeno and that aside, the character's fine, and I got bored very quickly, if I'm being honest. I saw that I was going to get bored very quickly because it isn't what I want in a character per se. I knew I wasn't going to like Wesker. I know when. I'm very good at knowing what is for me, what playstyle will go for me. I'm aggressive, and I will like to continue and just put them down, but this is a lot of dopamine feel good rush that I don't. I'm not as spry as I used to be. I don't have that constant hit anymore. I would like a little bit more thinking, somehow, somewhat. As you might know, I've been thinking about switching to Pyramid Head. At least placing trails and thinking like that gives me something that feels rewarding for me. The constant chase and dopamine hits of Zeno, not so much. But I understand why it is that way for people that are playing Wesker and Zeno. It's there. I understand it. Wasn't for me, and I think unfortunately a lot of people are coming off of the dopamine high that they had with somebody that didn't just insta lose to half of the maps. Zeno's fine, but I think they're only fine. There people were talking about high A tier, S tier even, and not even just like the Twitter survivor main cope, but like even bad guy mains are like, oh, A plus, and I'm like, where are we getting this A plus situation from? Don't get me wrong, they're good, but if you weren't putting demo in A plus, you weren't really putting Zeno in A plus. Perfectly B if you were to ask me, because there's times where you can just not have your power. That is just a feature that can happen. Um, will it happen often? That depends on how well you are, but you can just not have your power, and that just is enough to make me feel like I don't understand it. Which is why I also don't feel like Stabiffle is as good on this character, because half the time you're kind of taking what you can get, like I've told you with Trickster. You take what you can get when you can get it. If it's a tail in the moment, it's a tail. If it's the M1 in the moment, take the M1, right? Um, and on to the tail. It's so jank. Look, I understand it is a skill shot, but hitboxes in DbD aren't perfect. So it's different when there's jank and you have a perfect environment versus having a jank environment and jank. It's a bunch of jank on top of jank. So it doesn't feel good for me. If I am at a situation, I go, man, that didn't connect because the hitbox around lockers is just larger than everything else on the map, or oh, this window angle somehow collided with this. There's a difference between just knowing how things will interact and things interacting because it makes sense. If I'm trying to get a skill shot off and I hook something tight to give myself just enough of a window to do so, a random fire barrel or locker hitbox being too wide, stopping my entire attack, doesn't make me have fun anymore. So that's kind of the other thing about Zeno that I don't see myself using too often. I I understand why people will. tie with Wesker probably, but I think everybody's starting to come off of the honeymoon phase. Then we go to the next part I want to talk about, which is the perks on Zeno. Ultimate weapon, really good, but I have to admit, even I might be blowing it out of proportion to how good it is. It's it that makes it sound like it's not good. It's really good, but it's not great, right? You still have to take time to get to a locker, and if you aren't Huntress or Trickster, there's no real prompt to let you know where some lockers are to do it. I mean, okay, Dredge too. And I think that Ultimate Weapon succeeded where Darkness Reveal failed. Yeah, I don't advise that perk too often. I think it's good information every now and again, but I can't say it's the number one perk like you would Ultimate Weapon on anybody. Ultimate Weapon gives you a lot of information and helps you with decision making, but I could also be doing other things. The person is blind, which is something that I personally really enjoy, versus Oblivious, because Oblivious does not make sense, because why would they do that? Because you will then be in chase, and then there's chase music, and I could go on on why everybody that ever said that it should be Oblivious is stupid, but, I digress. Yeah, I don't really, but hey, we'll say I do. Ultimate Weapon is a perk that, do I think that's the sole thing to do with getting the DLC? Could be. Could be. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? I say it is. Alien Instinct, the more I play with it, the less impressed I am on the other hand. It was good in the first half. I think it could use a buff. And Rapid Brutality, I've made it work. How do I feel about it in the end? Rapid, rapid, rapid. Oh, it it's tricky because of game design. It's dangerous. I'll put it that way. It's not just tricky. It's dangerous. You can really do damage to yourself because of the perk, and it just won't help. Like if I would have had it like in my last video, if I would have had it on something where I was going to get infinited anyway, that's just game. That is just game because of the map design. So it's very scary, and you have to take it into consideration. Are you playing somebody that primarily can get M1s and can do so pretty reliably? And at that point, do you need rapid brutality? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's ever something that can just straight up replace everything. I did like it on Slinger, but that's that. And then finally, I want to touch on the build that I'm running here and something I found out real quick. They shadow nerfed Dissolution and Spirit Fury. That's something I was testing on Zeno because Zeno likes chase perks, which is why you see me running Blood Favor in this gameplay if Editor Monster did this correctly. Blood Favor, really good, and I'm thinking might be the new best user of the perk. I think I had that jury's still out. Testing is still going on for that claim. I do really like Enduring. I don't know why we're all putting it on Zeno, but it also can make sense. And I don't know. Just put on chase perks. They feel good. You are a chaser. You should win the game. I think that's everything I wanted to cover in this discussion. If anything, I'll make another one. Depends on how long that it takes to fix everything. But yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.